Hello, and welcome to Kelly's Anesthesia Tips. Today's tip is especially for Kimberly because I think I figured out why you might have been having trouble accessing the templates that I tried to share with you. So if you are looking to find a template to use for either internal auditing at your own practice, or if you do some consulting and you'd like to have a form for external, I never mind sharing what I use, particularly because these templates that I have shared on my website are very old, so it's up to you to update them yourselves. But let me show you why I think that you may have had a problem. On my website, the Forms to Download tab will lead you to this tab that tells you these are templates to review for updated coding or to update as you see necessary. And a reminder that for each state, there are different requirements for many of the carriers, excepting Medicare, which pretty much follows the same rule from state to state, but you do have to check with your own state Medicare to find out what type of local coverage determinations they may have. So with that, I'm just going to show you a few tips to help you here. So you go to the Forms to Download page and then hop over to the Documents to Download. And I do update my own website, and this was the only way that I could get the documents to share. And there are quite a few documents on here, so please feel free to download any that may be helpful to you. I will say when I update them, so you may have noticed that I have not updated that audit template since I pretty much shared this. So let's go look. I've already done the links just in case it was going to give me a little bit of trouble hopping over. But if you click on this audit template shared for internal audits, you can still use them for external. But it does say edit to fix your practice needs, and I'm going to give you some examples. So opening up this shared audit sheet here, I want you to notice that there are different tabs along the bottom. Now what I have done, because you look at a lot of information when you're looking at anesthesia things, I have updated and changed mine over the years, but I'll, kind of give you some clues as to what you can do. So here, I made a little shortcut to each of the identifiers on the date side. And if you go over here, you'll see that there's not a date of service or DOS column, meaning that all of these that I'm looking at are going to be on the same date of service. Now, when you do that, you want to make sure that you have something to confirm you have all of the same date of service. You want to make sure you have a surgery schedule that includes all of your add-on cases so that you have something to match it up with. Now, if you're doing a random audit and you're looking at, say, 5 or 10 for each provider, you're going to have to come over here and add a column for your DOS or date of service. Let me show you how you do it. You would copy and paste and insert here and say DOS and change it to date. Or this one actually does have date on the descriptor. So let me come back over here for just a minute and see if I overlooked that. No. So that's what else you need to do. You need to make sure each one of these matches what you have on your headers. So here you might change that to DOS. If you want, you might change it, leave it date if that's what works for you. What I also do is I make sure that I never identify the patient by name. It is always by an ID. And I'll come over here and I'll put whatever the ID is. Was it the patient's account number? Was it the claim number? Was it a medical record number? Whatever it is that helps you find that without having a patient's name on anything. I do that as a protective layer for HIPAA. Okay, what else do you do? If you're adding a column here, you want to scroll all the way down and make sure that you're not messing up these columns that are already set up. And when I say they're already set up, let's say you looked at 100 codes and only 76 of them were correct. This will automatically calculate your CPT accuracy for you. Now let's say there's 99% correct, or 99 were correct. That gives you a 99% accuracy. On your diagnosis codes, let's say we looked at 174 codes, or 174. And of those 174, only 123 were correct. It'll automatically do that for you. So if you are adding any columns in here, just make sure that you scroll all the way down and don't accidentally, delete something or change something. If you're not real familiar with Excel spreadsheet, how you can determine which boxes your calculation is looking for is by clicking in the actual box itself, and then you look up here and it'll tell you that to determine the CPT accuracy, they're taking G94, that's your box, and dividing it by E94, and that is your box. So if you ever make a mistake, I usually keep an original copy so I can go back and check to see what did I change or mess up. These you can just easily re-download again. Okay, what else do I want to point out on here? There's not a lot of room, so if you're looking at just time, you may be able to take out some of these columns. Just be careful when you take stuff out. If you're looking all the way through payments, this is how this works. The last one is calculated to automatically configure it. So if you were paid $478, but you were expecting $600, that's a difference of $122. I color code to show where my issues and problems are. But if, for example, the office did nothing for this $122, I would count that as a payment mistake because someone should have followed up on it. Now, if the patient came along and paid that $122, you put an equal sign in front of your insurance payment and you add what the patient paid. So let's say it was $122. And that shows that the account is paid and cleared as intended. Now, if the patient's making monthly payments of $50, there you go. They still owe $22. That's not an accident. It's not an error. The patient is allowed per your policy to make monthly payments, and they're making their monthly payments. If they miss their monthly payment, that's another story, and that's where the Notes tab comes in over here. You go over to your Notes tab and make good notes. What do I mean? I mean that you make a note that's clear enough that if you come back to it 2 years later, you'll know exactly what you mean. So here I will type in line 1, and I'll usually give headers. And I will also make some notes that may pertain to everything that I'm looking at. For example, charges were entered within so many days of the date of service, etc. And here I might say insurance filed 9/22 and paid as expected. So you want to know what your contracted rates are on 10/12 within 30 days. Patient making monthly payments, or you may just want to say patient paid $50 on here. Patient paid $50 on 10/15. This was a good patient, but you get the gist. All right, but make good notes. I also save a lot unless you've got it on auto save. Now here's another tab, and I also will color code these tabs because sometimes I end up making multiple tabs down here. I added a teaching facility because there's specific information that pertains to academia that doesn't to private practice, and you've got to have teaching criteria or TP. So again, you want to go back to this identifiers tab and make sure that every one of these matches every one of those until it's very clear what information you're looking at, etc. And then I'm going to show you the rules tab because I do want you to know that I have not updated this since probably, here we go, July 2013. My, the time does fly. That was exactly, wow, like 8 years ago today. Cool, I didn't mean to do that. Thanks, Kimberly. That was good timing on yours. But here's the thing that I do is I follow this hyperlink, and if you notice this turns into a little finger, we're going to try it. I'm live, but if it messes up, I'll just come back and kill it. But here it'll ask you, do you want me to open this? And I'm going to look at this and say, yes, I can trust this resource because it's from cms.gov. It's a PDF file, and I am perfectly okay with that. But what I want to show you, and here I'm just going to word search real quick. I've used this as a tip before for anesthesia. And I'm going to get really quick to the anesthesia section by doing that. I could get here quicker, but here we go. It's section 50. And here under the payment for anesthesiology services, you'll notice that this was updated in 2017. So you will want to make sure that when you go to your spreadsheet here that you're going to change it to updated whatever day you update it, and make sure that you're using the most current information out there. I also will add a spreadsheet for the state billing requirements. So here you just click on there. I have mine all set up, but I may put payer, Oklahoma payers. And then I'll go check and see what do all of the Oklahoma payers say. I'm going to delete that because I just did it to show you. But I will go in there and add all of the rules that are current as of when I'm reviewing these files. All right, this is going to be a longer video, but hopefully it's one that's going to be very helpful to you. So let's throw that to the bottom, put that to the bottom, and then I want to go show you the internal audit of counts, because this is a much simpler. Now, of course, you can use that spreadsheet as an internal, but honestly, when I was just looking at stuff that hadn't even gone to the insurance company yet, the pre-submission claims, I just used a very simple one for our own files. Now, I also left this up to remind you that when you do open these, you want to enable editing, and then you want to file and save as whatever you're saving it as, because that's the account or the file that you're going to be using to make your own changes and adjustments on here. So when I looked at pre-submission claims, I didn't even type these. I would just print out one of these forms like this. I'd grab the stack of work that's been coded but not yet put in the system. You know, your practice may be different on how you do things, but this is so old school. We had a drawer that, you know, if they're already coded and ready to be put in, they're in a certain drawer. So I would just go to that drawer and get a stack of them and pull them and say, okay, these haven't been sent yet, but they've been coded, so let me look at them. And then I would just write in the date, and if I was looking at just one particular person, I would fill that in. If I was looking for the whole day, I'd do something else. I did not typically use these for the post-submission, but you can do whatever you want. Actually, I don't even think I had this form yet. So for post-submission, I may very well have used this one, but I would have gone about it a different way because those are the ones that have already been sent into the insurance company. So with those, I may have looked at, you know, some random ones for a particular physician, and that one, I might even look at payments and stuff. On pre-submission, you can't look at payments and things. You can just look at the coding aspect of it. At any rate, this one was a very simple one that I used in my office, and I've shared many times over the years. You may find you like one better than the other one, and that is totally up to you. All right, so hopefully I have helped Kimberly, especially. Now, if you want to be able to access those, just don't forget you probably are going to have to get over to that download section here that says documents to download. I like to end with the same mantra because I really believe that we are all in this together. Anesthesia is a small world, and I'm happy to be sharing it with all my anesthesia friends. So be kind to one another, generous with your knowledge. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to get the new content. And I've added a new one because apparently you have to like these videos too. And I'm still not really sure why, but apparently there's some algorithms that YouTube watches for these, but whatever the case, if you like it, please let me know so. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section or email me, and I will get back with you as quickly as I can. Thank you and have a great day.